Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So I have a big week of videos lined up for your guys' enjoyment, so I hope you guys enjoy all the episodes this week on Keek on the Mic. But today I have a really interesting topic for you guys, and for me, when I read this article and I read this report by this expert, it made me laugh. I'm just gonna tell you that, and it may make you guys laugh as well. It may make you guys mad. It may make you guys even happy. I don't know what your emotions are gonna be like when I tell you guys this report from this article from this expert. So the report out of Chicago is this: expert encourages Bears to consider trading Roquan Smith. Yes, I know, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. That's the exact same emotion I had when I read the title of this article. And I want you guys to know that most of the articles that I react to, the reports that I get, come from Eric Lambert at Sports Mockery. I just report on his stuff, I react on his articles, and just give my opinion. So when I saw this, expert encourages Bears to consider trading Roquan Smith, my first reaction was just straight laughter. Because before I can even go any further on this episode of Keek on the Mic, I can tell you right away that this is absolutely ridiculous. And I think you guys would absolutely agree with me. And obviously, going further, as much as I hate to say this, the Bears are in a rebuilding phase, right? Ryan Poles broke down this roster, and he's trying to build it back up into hopefully a contender for years and years to come. And usually when you are in that rebuilding phase, right, you unload old, expensive players, and then you try to gain more draft capital. I can tell you firsthand that Roquan Smith is not an old, expensive player at the moment, right? And I'm not sure if Ryan Poles wants to unload him to gain more draft capital unless a team is throwing 2 first-round picks for Roquan Smith, which I don't think is likely, right? So basically, you get rid of players you don't see a part of your long-term future when you are trying to rebuild a team like Ryan Poles is trying to do in Chicago. But according to Kristopher Knox, this is the big expert, Kristopher Knox of Bleacher Report, and I don't know any idea who Kristopher Knox is, but according to Eric Lambert, this is the expert that reported that he thinks the Bears trading Smith should at least be considered. These are the exact words that the expert Kristopher Knox of Bleacher Report had to say about the Chicago Bears at least considering trading Roquan Smith. While Chicago has $20.2 million in cap space available, fourth most in the NFL, an extension isn't going to come cheap. Do the Bears want to invest heavily in Smith now when the playoffs may still be 2 or 3 years away? If the Bears are on the fence, you can bet that another contender would love to have Smith in its lineup. A trade could potentially net Chicago a second or even a first-round pick in return, provided Smith is willing to sign an extension with his new team. That's something Chicago would have to heavily consider. Like I said, Bears fans, when I first saw this article written by Eric Lambert, all I could really do was laugh. Especially when you look at some of the wording that this expert from Bleacher Report, Kristopher Knox, used in his article. Is that something that Chicago would have to heavily consider if they were offered a first or a second round pick? I can tell you firsthand, I would not accept a second round pick. I don't think I would even accept a first round pick at this point, right? If they're talking to baby about two firsts, which I know is highly unlikely, or maybe a first and a second, and maybe a couple of players, and okay, maybe we can start talking, but I still wouldn't trade Roquan Smith. Maybe I would have a conversation with you to make things interesting, right? Just to humor you, but would I trade Roquan Smith? Absolutely not. And like I said, when I saw this article, it just made me laugh. I wasn't mad. I wasn't frustrated. It just made me laugh. And obviously, when you look at the statement that Kristopher Knox said, obviously, Knox isn't sure if Ryan Poles and the Bears want to invest in the money it will take to extend Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith, he hasn't made a Pro Bowl, which to me is a whole totally different conversation. I feel like he is a Pro Bowl player. I feel like he is an all-pro, even though he's been a second-team all-pro, right? But I think he's a first-team all-pro type of guy, and I think he's about to get paid. And I've said this on the podcast before. I feel that Roquan Smith is worth every penny. When you look at what Ryan Poles is trying to do, right? Trying to rebuild the Chicago Bears roster. He has building blocks. I feel that when you look at the Bears building blocks, I'm going to say one person on the defensive side, and I'm going to say one person on the offensive side. And I think you guys know what I'm about to say. The two guys that the Chicago Bears need to build around is Roquan Smith and Justin Fields. So I absolutely have no idea what the hell Kristopher Knox is talking about. And like I said, I don't even know who Kristopher Knox is. I'm not even sure if you can really even consider him a freaking expert at this point. But there's no way that Ryan Poles should even consider trading Roquan Smith unless there's like a crazy trade idea where the Seahawks come out of nowhere and say, hey, we'll give you a first and DK Metcalf. That's the only time I would even consider possibly trading Roquan Smith. But at the moment, I think that's highly unlikely that Roquan's gone. I truly feel that Ryan Poles sees Roquan Smith as a building block for this Chicago Bears football team. And once again, I feel that Roquan Smith is worth every penny for the Chicago Bears. So I don't know where Kristopher Knox is coming from. Maybe he just needed some content to post, right? Maybe he just wanted to be heard as an expert, which, like I said, I don't even think you can really consider him an expert at this point. And it may have been a fun talking point for him to get the Bears fans, kind of riled up. And like I said, I'm not riled up about it. I'm not mad. I just think it's hilarious that this was even a conversation for Kristopher Knox, right? But I don't anticipate the Chicago Bears trading Roquan Smith. And when you look back at a statement once again, this is something that really cracked me up. When you look at back at what Kristopher Knox had to say about the Bears considering trading Roquan Smith, he says, do the Bears want to invest heavily in Smith now when the playoffs may still be 2 or 3 years away? As one of the reasons the Bears should consider trading Smith, to me, it's absolutely dumb. And he may be correct. It may take 2 to 3 years for the Chicago Bears to get back to the playoffs. I think that's a fair assessment by the expert from Bleacher Report by the name of Kristopher Knox. That may be a fair assessment. But in 2 to 3 years, Roquan Smith would still only be 28 years old in the middle of his prime, right? He would still be probably a great, excellent football player for the Chicago Bears, barring any injuries, right? So for him to say, do the Bears want to invest in the money to keep Roquan Smith here when they know that the playoffs may be 2 to 3 years away, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's dumb. Because once again, I'm going to go back to this. I truly feel that Roquan Smith is one of Ryan Poles' building blocks, especially on the defensive side of the football. If you trade Roquan Smith, who the hell is going to replace him? Yeah, you may have the picks, but will you be able to find another linebacker like Roquan Smith that can go sideline to sideline, that's ultra athletic, right? That's a leader of this football team, especially on the defensive side. How do you replace a guy like Roquan Smith? So that's absolutely dumb. I can see if Kristopher Knox came from this angle, right? Let's say Roquan Smith was already 28 years old, right? Maybe he already got paid, and he's already getting paid big bucks, right? $19 million a year. Then I can consider maybe trading away Roquan Smith for a second-round pick, right? Much like we did with Khalil Mack, kind of on the older side, expensive contract. This is a rebuilding football team for the Chicago Bears. Then it makes sense. But Roquan Smith is only 25 years old. In 3 years, he's going to be 28. He's still going to be in his prime. So that statement from Kristopher Knox, the expert from Bleacher Report, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But at the moment, and I'm going to repeat this till I'm blue in the face, Bears fans, this is just an expert, just making a ridiculous claim, just to have an article out there, right? Just to get his name out there, just to get people riled up, right? And this article may rile you up, but like I said, I just think it's absolutely hilarious that he came out with this claim of the idea that the Bears should consider trading Roquan Smith. And I'm going to repeat this till I'm blue in the face. I don't think we have anything to worry about. I think Roquan Smith will be a Chicago Bear for a long term. I feel like he's worth every penny, and I feel truly in my heart that Ryan Poles considers Roquan Smith a building block for this Chicago Bears football team. And in my personal opinion, it would be absolutely dumb to get rid of Roquan Smith unless a ridiculous trade offer comes to the table that you cannot resist. But I don't think we have anything to worry about as Bears fans. But I'm going to ask you guys this question anyways. And I know it's a ridiculous question, and I know it seems like a simple answer, but I'm going to ask you guys this question anyways. Do you guys think the Bears should consider trading Roquan Smith? And my answer to that is absolutely not. But I want to hear your guys' answer down below in the comment section. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic.